There's a specific moment, somewhere between year 2 and year 5 of investing, where most people stop. Not because the market crashed, not because they needed the money, because nothing was happening. The account was going up, but slowly. $40 this month, $60 next month, and they thought, is this supposed to change my life? So they stopped the automatic contributions, just for 1 month. And then that 1 month became 3 months. And then they stopped checking altogether. And that decision, that one quiet decision to pause, cost them more than any bad investment they ever made. I want to show you exactly how much, because there's a gap in personal finance content that nobody talks about. Every video tells you how to start investing. Nobody tells you what the next 7 years actually look like and why they are the most dangerous years of your financial life. Let me give you a number that should not be possible. The S&P 500 over the last 30 years has returned an average of 10.2% per year. That is the market. That is what the index did. Now, here's the number that should not be possible. The average individual investor over that same 30-year period earned 3.6% per year. The gap is 6.6 percentage points every single year. That gap is not explained by fees. It is not explained by bad fund choices. It is explained entirely by behavior. This is from the DALBAR Quantitative Analysis of Investor Behavior Study, one of the most referenced studies in behavioral finance, and they have been tracking this gap for 30 years. Same number every year. The market does its job. Investors do not let it. And the reason they do not let it is not stupidity. It's not lack of discipline. It's something that happens in a very specific window, the years right after you start, when progress feels invisible, but the math is doing everything. When I set up my investing system, the one I talked about in the last video, I expected to feel different. I had my Roth IRA funded, automatic contributions running, index funds bought. I had done everything right. And then month 1, my balance went up $38. Month 2, it went up $52. Month 3, the market dipped. My balance went down. Not a lot, maybe $120. I had been doing everything right for 3 months, and my account had less money than I put in. I remember thinking, am I doing this wrong? I was not doing it wrong. I was just in what I now call the dead zone. Every investor goes through it. It's the first 2 to 7 years before compounding has enough fuel to become visible. $10,000 invested, $200 a month. End of year 1, $12,400. End of year 2, $15,200. End of year 3, $18,200. End of year 8, $50,400. That's when the snowball starts. End of year 10, $62,000. End of year 13, $100,000. Year 13 alone adds $11,000. Years 8 through 13 produce more growth than years 1 through 7 combined. Not because the return changed, not because you contributed more, because the snowball got big enough to matter. But you have to survive years 1 through 7 to get there, and most people do not.
I want to tell you about the most dangerous number in personal finance. It is not 0. 0 is obvious. 0 hurts. 0 motivates you to fix it. The most dangerous number is 25,000. When most people hit $25,000 in savings, something shifts in their brain. Not a dramatic shift, a quiet one. They stop feeling behind. For years, they had felt the pressure of not having enough. That pressure drove every good financial decision they made. And at 25,000, for the first time, it goes away. And without that pressure, the discipline that built the 25,000 starts to quietly dissolve. The apartment upgrade happens. The car lease happens. The streaming subscriptions multiply. The automatic investment stays the same for now, but the margin to increase it disappears. A 2022 study by Northwestern Mutual found that Americans who had saved between $20,000 and $50,000 were actually less likely to be on track for retirement than people who had saved under $10,000. Less likely with more money, because the urgency was gone, but the finish line was still decades away. That is the $25,000 trap. It does not just slow the snowball, it freezes it at exactly the moment it was about to start accelerating. I want to talk about something that every finance video gets wrong. They say, stay the course during a down market. Do not panic sell. Hold. That is correct, but it is incomplete. Because what they do not tell you is that a down market is the best thing that can happen to you in the first 10 years of investing. I know how that sounds. Let me prove it. You're investing $200 a month into an index fund. Normal market fund at $100 per share, your $200 buys 2 shares. Market drops 20%. Fund at $80 per share, your $200 buys 2.5 shares. When the market recovers, and it always has, your 2.5 shares are worth more than your 2 shares would have been. This is called dollar cost averaging. In a down market, for someone still contributing, every red month is a discount. Every correction is a sale. Every crash for someone in the accumulation phase is an opportunity dressed in terrifying clothing. Someone who invested $500 a month from January 2008 through December 2012, right through the crash and the slow recovery, ended 2012 with more money than someone who had paused during the crash and restarted when things felt safe, because they kept buying when everything was on sale, and those shares recovered with everything else. The crash did not hurt them. Stopping during the crash hurt the other person. I want to tell you what it actually feels like to hit $100,000. Not the number, not the milestone, the feeling. Almost everyone who crosses it says the same thing. It felt quiet, not like winning, not like a celebration, more like something in their chest relaxed that they didn't know was tight. Because $100,000 is not a number. It's the point where the math starts doing the work for you. At $100,000 in a basic index fund, your account generates roughly $10,000 a year in growth without you doing anything. That's more than most Americans save in an entire year from doing nothing. And from that point, the next $100,000 comes faster, and the $100,000 after that comes faster still. The first $100,000 is the hardest, not because the math is different, because you have to do it on belief. You have to trust the numbers for 7, 8, 9 years before the account starts confirming what the math always promised. You have to survive the dead zone. You have to ignore the $25,000 trap. You have to keep the $200 running when the market is down and everyone is calling it a crash. And if you do those 3 things, consistently, quietly, without drama, the math will do the rest. I didn't grow up with money. I didn't have a parent explain compounding to me. I learned everything the slow way, through mistakes and losses and late nights online. But the thing I know now that I didn't know when I started is that wealth is built in the moments that feel unimportant. It's built in the moments that feel boring. The automatic transfer on the 15th of every month, the 23-second login to confirm the contribution went through, the decision not to pause it just this month, just this once. That's what $100,000 is made of. Not strategy, not timing, not luck, repetition. If you're anywhere in those first 7 years right now, keep going. The math is working. You just can't feel it yet. Subscribe if this is the kind of content that actually helps. One video every week. I'll see you in the next one.